Let's play a game of what if. RC, I'll start with you. What if Justin Fields has a tough day and the Steelers lose at home to the Chargers? Then what happens?
Justin Fields should still be the starter going into next week. I don't know what's going on with Russell Wilson's injury or where he is. Justin Fields, to me, has earned the right to play through some adversity. He's earned the right to show the Pittsburgh Steelers he can bounce back from a day that doesn't go his way.
Let's go to Chicago, Bart. What if Caleb Williams struggles again and it's a tough day for him and his offense against the Colts?
Well, it's cause for concern for the regime, right? Because everything is about the development of the future of your franchise. The Bears cannot allow another quarterback to be ruined because Eberflus can't develop him. You know, it could be cause for concern, especially with the last 8 games of that season being murderer's row.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's a coach in their own division, Ben Johnson, that everybody loves, the offensive coordinator in Detroit. But this, again, is a function of them keeping a lame duck head coach with a new quarterback in there. We'll save that for whether it happens or not. Graz, what if, and this is your game, what if Jalen Hurts and the Eagles lose in New Orleans on Sunday?
Well, it'd be a rough week on the Philadelphia Sports Talk Radio. There's no question about that. 2 straight losses. I mean, look, it's the Eagles are supposed to be one of the best teams, if not the best team in the NFC. They go down there to New Orleans and lose to an NFC South team for the 2nd week in a row. Yeah, there's going to be questions asked. There's no doubt about it. I don't get the sense that the Eagles are like in danger of coming apart at the seams or anything like that. I think if they lose to the Saints, who are maybe the hottest team in the league to start the season, then that's a tough loss. I guess it depends how they look in the loss.
Well, I mean, the whole idea of coming apart. Let's play it. This was Dan Orlovsky sitting in that chair yesterday saying he thinks this game is critical for the Eagles.
When it comes to pressure, when it comes to locker room, this is a must-win. For Nick Sirianni and the leadership in the locker room and the expectation and the perception in that city, they got to go win this football game. They got to find a way to win this football game. As far as being able to keep this football team from starting to crack, must win.
Are you buying that, RC? Let me start with RC. We'll get to I can see Mike T is jumping out of his chair. RC, are you? There is a school of thought that the way they lost the other night, they could start to fracture the way they did a year ago. You were in the building. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think that's a thing. I think what the coaches decided to do, to me, was the right decision. You're putting the football in the hands of a quarterback that finished 2nd in MVP voting 2 years ago. You're giving an opportunity to your big free agent acquisition that was absolutely phenomenal in week 1 against Brazil. And you're telling your team, I believe in the players on the field to execute and win football games. I'm not just going to rely on us. And I thought that was a beautiful thing for them to do. Now, if they catch the football, we're having a different discussion for the last week. I do believe going into this game, it's about how you play, not whether or not you win or lose. If this team competes, if this team plays well, and you lose to a team that was a better football team on that day, then that's okay. If you go out there and you lay an egg and you're absolutely drummed, physically on the line of scrimmage defensively, if you give up dynamic plays, if Jalen Hurts is under duress and Saquon Barkley is stuffed, then that's a bigger issue because that says as players, we can't get it done.
You looked ready to jump out of your chair, Mike.
Yeah, Dan Orlovsky is totally wrong. I agree with RC. If you're evaluating the head coach, is the coach putting the players in a position to be successful? That's Jalen Hurts throwing to Saquon Barkley. He had a 90% chance of being successful. He dropped the ball, but from a coaching perspective, you're putting the ball in your best player's hand, and you have a 90% chance of being, of it working. And to me, like, we can have a much better conversation about defensively, are those players being coached well? Are they being developed? And that's one thing. But Nick Sirianni put those players in a position to end the game.
Yeah, but to your point, the defense, that's the concern because that was something that was supposed to be fixed. Vic Fangio comes in, and that defense let them down. And we thought that they had fixed those problems, bringing Gardner Johnson back. They lost a lot of leadership in Fletcher Cox and Kelsey, and now other guys have to step up and emerge. And situational football is what football is all about. So I would be cause for concern because you have to believe in your coaches and believe in the scheme and believe in what's being called so you can go out there and execute.
Let's put the picks up on the screen there. Let's see how many people here believe in the Eagles as they go to a red-hot New Orleans team. Dan will, of course. I didn't know you were going to pick the game.
Why not?
All right, because you're covering the game.
I don't have any power over it.
Why not? It's a clean sweep. I am curious to hear.
I was at the Saints game last week.
Right.
They look awesome.
What have you heard from the Eagles? Because we're talking about them, splintering. You're talking to them this week. Like, what are they saying?
I asked, what were the coaches saying in the locker room after that loss? And the answer is nothing. it was Jalen Hurts that talked after that loss and gave this impassioned speech about how do we learn from this? What's your pride all about? What does accountability mean to you? And the players that were in there were like, we don't hear that much from him, and it was pretty powerful in the moment.
Listen, that's too early to have the quarterback that's not playing the best come in and start addressing the team. Sometimes that can fracture because you can get tired of hearing guys talk all the time.
Yeah, it seems like it was received pretty well.
Greeny, context of the NFL is everything. Philadelphia still has a real good chance of winning this division this year.
RC, quick final word.
Bart, you talk about the Jalen Hurts that was staying in bounds, picking up first downs, running the football. The Jalen Hurts that was hurt last year and was injured last year and was absolutely laying it on the line for his team. The Jalen Hurts that played to me with more sense of urgency in that game, whether you believe he played well or not, than we've seen him play in an entire year last year. That dude can say whatever he wants to me because that dude is fighting. Execution is one thing. You're going to throw a bad ball. You're going to miss a blitz pickup. But when you go out there and you give me everything you possibly can physically, you could get in the middle of that locker room and say, we're going to fix this because I'm going to hold myself accountable because I watched you do it on the grass.